Okay, hello and welcome back to another Campbell Sump Middle School video tutorial. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through some very introductory steps of our Gravit graphic design software. This is a web-based application, so everything you do on it is accessible from every computer in the school, your Chromebook, your computer at home if you have one. You can get to this on a tablet. Mac, PC, it works for everything. But the one big thing you want to remember is that you want a machine that has a mouse attached to it. Trackpads and touchscreens don't work very well with graphic design, so just make sure that's true. Your first step in this process is to open up Google Chrome, and once you've opened up Google Chrome, you're going to want to sign into your Gmail. If you notice you've opened up Chrome and someone else has already signed in, you'll notice that because there will be an emoji up here that isn't yours. Please sign them out and then sign back in. To sign in, just click Gmail. Follow the prompts. You should know what to do. This is your school email address and your school email password. Okay. Once you've done that, open up a new tab, and you're going to head to a website called designer.io. But here's a little trick. Every computer in the classroom, pretty much just type DE, maybe DES, and this should auto-populate. If it does not, pause the video, look at what this says, and type it into your address bar. Okay, once you've done that, press enter. You should be looking at this kind of purplish pinkish screen, and it's going to redirect you to this welcome screen. Okay, again, this is just an introductory look. We're going to go through some very basic operations here. You're going to be greeted with this screen every time you open this program. The left menu are basically directions. What do you do? Okay, the two that we're going to use are New Design, and then also Open from your Gravit Cloud. Okay, you don't have anything stored on your cloud yet, but you sure will in just a second. So today we're going to start with a new design, and every new design needs to start with dimensions. The dimensions are the size of the canvas, essentially, the piece of paper that you're going to be drawing on. Today we're going to go with 300 by 300. Now this is a height and a width measurement, and then the units of scale over here is critical, and I want you to learn this early. We have to adjust these based on what we're doing, and in my class I'm going to keep it simple. Always use millimeters. Okay? If you click create and this says pixels, you are effectively making a like a postage stamp size drawing. We want millimeters. We want these things nice and robust. Okay? Make sure this says 300 millimeters. Click create. If you need to pause the video and do these steps for yourself, go ahead and do them now. Okay, if you've paused and you've done that step, welcome back. You should be looking at this screen right here now. First thing I want to do with you before we do anything is to learn how to save our project. Come with me, bring your mouse up to the upper left corner, File, come down here, and we're going to not save, but save to cloud. Okay, click that. Once that's done, we're going to come in here, and we're going to set our title down here at the bottom to my first thing, and we're going to click save. Okay. Now, one piece that I always like to click when I just get started with Gravit is this grid over here. If I turn this on, it sets up kind of a graph paper look for my page. I really like how that looks. It helps me kind of gauge left and right and up and down. This has no effect on your final production, so if you like it, use it. If you don't, don't. I'm going to set my grid to 10 millimeters wide and 10 millimeters wide and 10 millimeters high. So now I've got centimeter grid paper here. Okay. A couple things I want to walk you through, and then I want to give you plenty of time to practice with this. Notice up here I've got my arrow selected. That's my selection tool. I've got nothing to select yet, but that's going to be a useful tool. If I'd use the drop-down menu next to it, there's actually two selection tools. There's a pointer, which is my selection tool, and then there's this sub-select tool. The visual difference is you'll notice when I have my pointer selected, it's a solid arrow. When I have my sub-select tool selected, it's kind of an arrow with a white center. Remember the appearance of both of these. We're going to be using them in just a second. For now, set yourself up with your regular pointer. And come with me over here. We're going to use this pen tool, otherwise known as the path tool. That's essentially our very basic drawing tool. Now, a path in graphic design dictates a linkage between two things called nodes. All right, a node is essentially like an anchor point, and a line stretches out from a node and it joins another node. So a straight line is going to have how many nodes? If you're thinking 2 nodes, you're exactly right, 1 on either end. Now, start thinking to yourself, a triangle is how many nodes? How many nodes in a triangle? If you're thinking 3, you're right on. A square, a rectangle, even a trapezoid is going to have, you guessed it, 4 nodes because there's 4 corners, each linked by a node and a line. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If I asked you how many nodes are in a circle, so you're thinking, I don't know, 16, 75, 82. Now, a circle could have an infinite number of nodes, depending on how meticulous you wanted that outer perimeter of the circle to be. Okay? So we're going to leave that alone for now, but just keep your mind on node. Click your pen tool, come out onto your canvas, and do a single left click, and then stretch away from it. Do another single left click. You're going to notice that each left click you do, and I'm not clicking and dragging, I'm simply clicking, and then I'm wandering away from it, and then clicking again. So every click I do drops off a node. So the question is, how do I stop drawing nodes? All right, enough already. Next one out, I'm going to double click. Now I'm done. Okay? Now, this is where it gets kind of neat. So I've got my selection tool, right? Full-on selection tool. If I select my object, I can actually move the whole thing around. But we talked about the sub-select tool, and here's where it's handy. If I come in here and go sub-select, notice all of my nodes show up again, and now I can actually manipulate individual nodes on my drawing. And this is where this program gets kind of neat, because I can take a shape and I can really start customizing it. Now, yes, we're just dealing with a plain old line, but this is going to go leaps and bounds for you once we really dive into this program. Okay, so come back up to your pointer. We're going to learn something new. If nothing is selected in my drawing, on the right-hand menu, I have got the attributes, or the important information about my canvas. Remember, 300 wide, 300 high, I'm in millimeters. When I select anything, this menu changes. It starts telling me information about the selected object. Now, notice that I've got this fill and border. All right. If I come down to border, see how it says it's set to black, and I've got a 1 point, which means essentially like a font size. You know, if I highlight that and I type 8 and hit enter, whoa! All right, my line just got a little thicker. That's pretty cool. So if I select it again, get my information over here, I've got fill. Now fill is set to white. Let's just for the fun of it set it to yellow. Whoa! So now I'm starting to see some interesting things start to happen here. All right. Let's change fill to blue, and we're just going to leave it like that. Now, let's select this again. Now you know how to manipulate those two. We're going to select it and just press delete. Okay. Now we're going to come back up here. Shape tool. Let's draw a rectangle. Click with your left, stretch, let go. There's your rectangle. Now, select the object. Expand the border menu over here with the plus sign. Color the border black and change the point to 8. Change the fill to any color you want. So now we've got a good demonstration of what border and fill really do. The squiggly line I just drew when I changed the fill to blue and yellow was not really demonstrating what fill and border can really do for you, and I wanted to draw you this square to give you a good idea. Fill and border are exactly what they are. The fill is what's inside, the border is what's outside. Okay? You can really start to manipulate shapes and colors and patterns with this kind of tool. For now, I'm going to leave it here. Last thing we want to do before we do anything is click this little disk up here, assuming that you've already given your file a name. Each time you want to save, all you have to do is click this disk. Okay? If you have not given your file a name yet, come down to Save to Cloud and give it a name. Okay, so that's it for our introductory steps. Hope you enjoyed it.